This sode would not be possible without the support of our listeners, patrons, and sponsors. If you'd like to learn more about supporting the 3-Bit Gamer Show, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/3BG. And a huge thanks goes out to our boss-level patrons, Christopher and Patrick.
You guys need to check out this new game.
What do you got?
I can't tell you. You've just got to see it.
All right, show us.
Here, look.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God, Peterson.
I do not like this.
Isn't it great?
No, it's not great.
Dude, seriously, why would you think we'd want to see this?
Oh my gosh, whatever. You guys are just being such babies. Everyone needs to see this.
No one should see this.
I'm going to gouge my eyes out to stop seeing this.
Same. You just logged on to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
And Dani.
And Peterson, you're cut off. Nothing else. You're not allowed to show us anything. For
One more.
2
Just
weeks.
give me one more, guys. I got it. I know you really got to see this.
Nope.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week comes to us from Crave Cookies. Crave Cookies is this awesome cookie, pretzel, soda, all sorts of soda. And is there one more thing?
Churros.
Churros, of course.
How could you
there's
forget the
fucking
churros?
I don't know. That should come out first.
Shame.
It's a shop down in Midvale, Utah. You can check them out on DoorDash or Uber Eats, I think. And you can find them at cravecookies.com. And they brought back... Wait, is the Pop-Tart new, Peterson?
No, they've had the Pop-Tart before. The new one
We've had
is
the
what is it?
The
What's the other one that's on
Butterfinger
it?
cheesecake?
Yes.
Oh
That's the
my
one.
God. It's a sugar cookie, and then they put a layer of peanut butter and New York cheesecake spread on top of it. Then they crush up an entire fun-sized Butterfinger and drizzle it with melted peanut butter and Ghirardelli milk chocolate. Trent he's off the rails, dude. He has lost it. He's just lost his mind, and he's just pouring his madness, not unlike Willy Wonka, into his cookies.
I'm a little worried he's offending the dessert gods. He's just mixing them all together, and
Or is he
you can't
appeasing
just
them?
do this.
Yeah, dude, maybe Trent is the only line of defense between the dessert gods and total destruction of our planet. I mean, I'm also just thinking we could just go down and take all the 3-Bit co-hosts on a tour of the Crave factory.
Yo.
And see which one of us survives and then gets to inherit the factory.
Does he have Oompa Loompas? Because as
I
far as
trust
I
him.
know,
I trust him
it's a
with
bunch
that.
of high school kids.
All I know is there has to be a chocolate river to account for all the fucking chocolate on their cookies. There's no other earthly explanation for it. So I know at least that Trent has a chocolate river. So, all right. So news is actually a little thin this week, which is good because we can get right into the meat of the sode. So I'll start with this first one, which is destined to happen. I'd like to just say to everyone out there, you're welcome, because I am personally responsible for Nvidia announcing their latest 30 series cards. Is that what they're called?
I don't know.
The latest generation
Yes.
of GeForce RTX cards, the 30 series graphic cards, has been announced.
Mm-hmm.
They have a 3070, a 3080, and a 3090.
3090.
Yeah, dude. Which nobody
Amazing.
on earth needs. It's a full like $800 more than the 3080. So, dude, it's ridiculous. I am so mad because I just bought a 2070 for literally the same price, if not a little more, than they're selling the 3070 for. So that's pretty cool. So the one I just bought is probably worth immediately overnight. It's worth $200, $300 less than I paid for it. I hate graphics cards. You guys, I just fuck you.
I don't even like. Here's the thing. I felt at some point in the last 5 years, the specs completely stopped making sense to me.
Yes.
I was like, wait, do we need more than that? And they're like, I guess. I don't know. But here's my money.
Well, when the 20 series cards came out, they're like, okay, so they've got ray tracing. I'm like, cool, what's that? They're like, well, not a lot of games are going to utilize it yet. I'm like, oh, okay. But like later games will, right? And they're like, yeah. So, here we are 2-3 years later. I'm like, hey, are there any games with ray tracing? They're like, no, but they're coming. Also, here's the 30 series cards. I'm like, oh, cool. What do they do? More ray tracing. I'm like, cool. So what's ray tracing? Oh, you'll see later.
You'll get it. It's math. Don't worry about it.
There's probably some math involved. Just shut up and buy it. Slip that thing into your machine and let's play some games.
Have you heard about the teraflops?
Tell me about the T-flops, dog. Oh, we're dropping flops on you like you wouldn't believe.
Okay, so real quick, I clicked on the video I clicked on the video for the launch event, and it's just that guy in like his kitchen talking. Have you noticed? He has a glass bowl with no fewer than 25 spatulas in it.
I'm sorry.
Can you
what?
see that?
Can you link that?
Click on it's on the link that you posted in the doc.
Okay.
The video, the second video down, with just the guy in the glasses.
That is a lot.
Right? Why?
Wow.
Like one of them looks like it has a price tag on it still. I don't understand.
The guy just likes spatulas.
Dude,
maybe
spatulas. You guys, that's not like a utility bowl of a lot of different tools. That is exclusively for spatulas.
And it's not a small bowl either.
No, it isn't. It's like a big jug.
Anyways, that was an aside, but I just noticed it right away. I was like, what is that? Why?
I just like
back there.
His giant Venetian hood. Like, what the hell is that? Like, it's the most ornate, disgusting kitchen I've ever seen. And yet the weirdest part is his bowl with 35 spatulas. Maybe there's a clue in it. There's always a clue everywhere now. That's what QAnon stopped me. Everything's a fucking clue. And everyone's a child predator. Let's move on. That's fun. Okay, so also out. This is great news. This is how we're fighting. So you guys remember, like, for the majority of our lives, how we've just feared that some small brush war would lead to a nuclear exchange over the border of India and China, or possibly India and Pakistan.
Sure, yeah.
No, you guys, crisis averted. We get to fight all future wars with video game digital marketplaces.
Oh,
apparently, India and China India and China have been battling it out over whatever border dispute is going on this year, whatever current year border dispute. And India, in retaliation, has banned PUBG from all marketplaces in India.
They banned like 100 and something Chinese apps, including PUBG. I found out about this ban in Clash Royale. There's a couple guys from India.
Peterson's international news channel is Clash Royale chat.
Dude, there's a couple Indian guys in my Clash Royale clan, and they could not stop talking about this, and also how much they hate China. I didn't know this was a thing until this year, how much India hates China, but apparently they do, and they banned PUBG. Of all things, PUBG.
Well, that'll help. Yeah, so look forward to a lot more of our international diplomacy being handled via video game bans.
The next Cold War is going to involve gaming companies of all things. They're going to be threatening. They're going to be like, listen. If you don't accept this trade deal, we are not going to allow your country to have X, or we will ban Y. And
we're taking Halo.
Yeah.
You can't take it. Dude, I like watching that escalate. I think so. I was actually I was actually reading about the responses to this in India on Reddit, and apparently PUBG, as many Indian Redditors described it, is a babysitter. Because all you need is a smartphone. Because everyone in India, by the way, does not play PUBG on a console or on a PC. They're all playing it on their phones. This is all mobile, like exclusively. And that's it. Like, you just plug your kid in front of a PUBG like smartphone, and like he'll just sit there and it's free. Just play it for days or hours. It has become such a massive form of entertainment in India. It's like introducing half the country to video games. So it is kind of big. It's like,
yeah,
you give them this, which, by the way, if you played PUBG Mobile, if you played a mobile shooter like I played Call of Duty recently, it is game changing. They are so good now. It's unbelievable. You end up playing, you're like, wow, I don't need a controller. I can just play on my screen. They've made this playable. So to think that we introduced what has become essentially the pinnacle of first person shooter gaming in the US, and we're like, here, India, try this out. They're like, holy shit, this is awesome. And then the Indian government's like, no, because we hate China, remember? They're like, yes, I get it. That's fine. We'll stop playing. That's sad. It sucks.
Yeah, that's really sad.
That sucks. They had such a good game.
And then you have, what's their faces? Epic is like, whoa, what happened in India? How do we get in on that? Because all of a sudden they've lost out on tons of revenue.
Rolling in down Main Street, New Delhi. Here we go.
They're like, oh, you can't play PUBG? Well, let me introduce you to Fortnite, because I just looked up,
which quite frankly fits India much better. Which could you see a Bollywood movie made out of better? PUBG or Fortnite? Come on, Fortnite already has the Bollywood dances in it. No.
By the way,
it should be Fortnite.
My 10-year-old is boycotting Fortnite for the moment because the latest emote they add is a TikTok dance. I don't know. He's like, I'm not playing it. And better yet, he was all mad about it, and then I had him play with us, and he quit because his two younger brothers spent actual money to buy this emote just to troll their older brother. So we're in the lobby. They're both doing the dance, and he's like, nope, I'm not playing with you guys anymore. I'm done. And he just left, and he's boycotting Fortnite.
Dude,
wow.
What is it about TikTok that enrages people so much? I don't have it. I
do.
I see TikTok videos on Twitter and on Reddit all the time. So I feel like I get a curated version of TikTok.
Yeah.
But I saw this guy on Reddit that apparently pulled up to Starbucks and he ordered a drink, and the Starbucks waitress was like, "Oh, the Courtney, I don't know what the fuck it was called," and he's like, "No, it's not that." Apparently, this drink has been made very popular by a TikTok star, and this guy was infuriated that someone at the window had implied that he was ordering the same drink as the TikTok star, and he needed it. So he got out of his car, he parked his car, went in and asked for a manager because she had apparently written like Courtney on his cup, and he was so infuriated by this. And I'm like, wait, aren't you just admitting you know not only who that TikTok star is, but you know enough about her that you know her fucking Starbucks drink, and now you're like mad about it? And why would you be mad about a dance? I don't know, dude. What is it about TikTok that just makes you so mad?
I don't know. I'm on the like normal side of TikTok that's just like cute animal videos and stuff like that. I'm on the safe side.
Okay,
I thought it was like Vine, but longer.
That is not true.
Yeah.
I visited Dani's personal TikTok channel. She is
You did
dancing to all these songs. She's the most popular songs, doing goofy dances to all of them. Dani Powers at TikTok.com. I don't know.
That is not my handle.
It's actually Dancy Powers with an I. DANCI. Dancy Powers.
I actually, hold on one second. I got to see if I can change my username real quick, because if that isn't my username, it's gonna be
Dancy Powers. That is amazing.
Okay, so the last bit of news. This is shocking.
So
this is shocking to anyone who knows the UFC. The UFC, what does that even stand for?
Ultimate Fighting
Ultimate
Championship.
Fighting Championship.
Mm-hmm.
This is the MMA fighting league that you have to either go to an overpacked bar to watch or pay $60 pay-per-view on your paid cable subscription to watch. And, you know, after you've done all that, right? So you sift through your cable ads, you pay $60, you watch UFC on a PPV. That's it, right? Like, there's no ads within the fight that you've paid to watch, right? There's no ads. And then there's no, like, giant billboards with advertisers, logos plastered all of them. And the fighters don't have logos, like, on their pants. And,
Some of them do,
and tape do, right? Like there's no ads in UFC essentially after you pay.
It's usually their
the
sponsors.
$70 to $80 ticket price.
The sponsors are on the mat, and the sponsors.
Peterson,
are on
I'm being
shorts.
facetious. Every single aspect of UFC is ads.
No,
these
it's
guys,
not
if they
that
could give them
bad.
temporary tattoos head to toe, they would do it. And apparently, when EA, who produces UFC games and the latest one, UFC 4, when EA tried to, you know, make their game mimic reality by stuffing it so chock full of ads that it's nearly unplayable, fans were really upset about that.
Dude,
fans
it's
couldn't
incredible.
believe it.
It's incredible. The middle of the fight, they'll be like, "Oh, let's watch that replay," and an ad will pop up. It's like The Boys on Amazon, and then it goes to the replay, and you're like, "What? What am I doing?"
They really did go ham on their advertising. They really did.
What were they thinking? I don't. How did they not? How did they think this would be a good idea? Like legitimately,
To get people to watch The Boys.
Dude, it's just, I think it's just people are like, I don't blame them. Like, honestly, the fact that, like, I can't believe you bought this game to begin with. If you bought this game, you're already sucked in there. Like, yeah, whatever, they don't care. So yeah, it's an ad for The Boys right before and after the replay.
dude. I can't. I just.
Put an hour in there, though, because you do stop to watch the episode of The Boys.
You're like, oh wait, The Boys is up.
Long.
I'm not gonna play anymore. Log out, and I'm gonna watch the Boys now. I love that EA wants so badly to just put ads and microtransactions in all their games. They're gonna try whatever they can do. It never works. It keeps backfiring on them, and they're just like, nah, had to try. We had to go for it. You got us. All right, we'll take it out.
You had to try. You don't have to try. Dude, it would kill me. I would die. I would pay a good amount of money for EA or to find out how much advertisers are actually paying EA for these types of ads. Because I think about Amazon, whoever their marketing spender buyer is, being approached by an EA ad salesperson who's like, hey man, so we're working on UFC 4. The demographics of our game line up perfectly with the demographics for your upcoming series, The Boys. You know, it's like men 18 to 35 who like horrific violence. That's really gratuitous. It's perfect. There's a complete overlap. And how much money is being exchanged there? Because my first question, if I'm the Amazon guy, is like, yeah, but can you prove it? Like, what's that going to do for us? Like, how can you connect, your players seeing this ad 50,000 times with us actually seeing an increase in viewership? Because that's what people care about. That's why billboards have gone out of vogue, is because you can't actually tie billboards to direct advertiser dollars and see how much your dollars are, how far your dollars are going. So what I'm building toward here is that I don't think these ads are even making them that much money. I don't
Probably
think
not.
EA is making this isn't like a $15 million deal. This is, I think, like a 6-figure deal. Like maybe like $100,000 is what Amazon paid for these ads, which is absolutely ludicrous. If it's anything shy of $5 million, this isn't worth it because
Like, why
these
would you
types of
put it in
games,
a game?
yeah, they sell on the order of like $100 million. Like, you don't even need it. You sell 1 million copies, you've made $60 million. So you only need to sell 1 million copies. So unless they are making millions of dollars off these ads, which they aren't, which I doubt very seriously they are, that hardly seems worth it. They're just stuffing in ads.
They're just
to
trying
pad the
whatever they
game
can.
sales. Yeah,
Now
because
they're just
that,
being dicks.
yeah,
Dude, absolutely.
it's just like, dude, this is like a U-Bowl film approach where it's just like a tax write-off. Like, you're just making things. You're like, this is the film itself, or the game itself doesn't even need to sell a single fucking copy because we've covered all of its costs through microtransactions and ads and all this other garbage. Is that like the end goal, that you don't even have to sell the game?
it just has.
You just sell an ad, you just sell ads to a bunch of people, and they're like, cool, tight. That's it.
Can I?
It's an ad game.
Can I petition EA to hire me as a consultant? I don't even need to work full time. I'll be there. Is this a good idea, consultant? Because who okayed this? If you would ask any gamer, any fan of the UFC franchise, if they liked this, the answer is unequivocally no. How does this get past the drawing board? I mean, they know they're just going to have to patch it out right away.
Could I get this? Do you think we could get this past the drawing board? We just say, fuck it. All sports games now follow the Chex Quest model. They're all free. They come out of the box, and they are a very obvious ad for the product on its fucking face. It is just advertising to you. Chex Quest, the whole thing was getting kids to think about checks so much that they just kept getting checks because they were playing a game literally called Chex Quest. I think it's crazy you have an engaged audience of either NBA fans, NFL fans, college football fans, Ultimate Fighting fans, all these people that are willing to spend so much money. You might as well just give them the game for free and then just stuff it with so many fucking ads that all the people, because obviously these people are whales. They will pay $60 to watch a 3-minute fight with ads in the middle of it. I just think all sports games should be Chex Quest. That's all I'm saying. Dear game devs, listen.
You get the game when you subscribe to NFL Live Pass.
You go to a single NFL game, costs you $500. You should get
the
Madden
game
for that. Are you fucking serious?
I think that's
Madden
actually
should be
very
free.
fair. Yeah.
Yes. It's the Chex Quest. You bought a box of Chex Quest. Bought a box of checks, and you got a full copy of a Doom skinned game?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
And we're charging people for the same. We're paying $70 for NBA 2K whatever. 70? It's going to have ads.
Dude,
I just remember going to like a dinner once and someone just gave me a copy of FIFA while I was there. I didn't want it,
had it.
I left with a copy of FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA should be like, especially in Europe, it should just be like a citizen's right. Like,
yeah,
they get a copy of FIFA.
Congratulations on being born. Here's your copy of FIFA.
Exactly.
Are you registered to vote? All right, here you
Yep.
go. Here's your copy of FIFA. It's in the mail. You'll see it in 3 to 6 business days.
You're a Spanish citizen. You immigrate to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you get citizenship, they hand you a copy of Madden. They're like, "Hey, this is football here. This is your free football game."
I wish
You
I'd
get
gotten
this every
something
year.
like that. Yeah, because then I would understand what football really was.
Dude, that's the thing I'm saying is if Madden was free, I guess what I'm building toward is that if you can make Fortnite free and if you can make PUBG free, games that arguably have more content releases than sports games, why can't you make sports games free and just if you ramped up the freaking microtransactions to 11 in a free sports game, in a free copy of Madden, nobody would care.
And not gambling. It's not the gambling version. Dude, just do it the same way. Sell team jersey skins. Sell.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Sell.
you
You could sell
roster
dude,
updates.
Sell old teams. Sell the 96 Dream Team.
Absolutely.
In every copy of NBA 2K. Just have that there every time, and then you don't have to release new copies because it's just a living copy, or it's a living, breathing game that's updated. Anyway, this got way off the rails. But let's move on. All right, kudos is our positivity segment. We like to give a shout out to something we are digging on, and this has got to be the hottest kudos, fresh off the presses, right, Peterson? Has there ever been a fresher kudos?
No,
This is as of like 35 minutes ago.
My wife went to the store and she picked up the 2020 Mountain Dew mystery flavor Voodoo. Dew with a DEW, just fantastic wordplay.
Love it.
Very good.
Because she knew, she's like, oh, you haven't tried this one. She knew I like to try all the new flavors, so she picks it up for me. I break it open, like, I'm not kidding, 30 minutes before we're supposed to record. I take a sip and I was like, this tastes like something, and then immediately hits me. This tastes exactly like Skittles. This is Skittles. And
original Skittles.
Like the OG Skittles. Like, that's the flavor. I just, it's like imprinted into my brain. And so I messaged that. JD's like, BRB. And JD goes to the store and grabs a bottle.
Was starting in like 20 minutes, and I was like, I have to drive to the grocery store now because I need this new Mountain Dew before the podcast. And I will add one addendum, and everyone who knows original Skittles will have an opinion on this because they always do. When original Skittles switched out the lime flavor to green apple, I think it changed what it tastes like to put a whole handful of these in your mouth. But this Voodoo tastes like the old Skittles, the ones with the lime in them, not the ones with apples. So It tastes like the old Skittles you ate as a kid, because they've had apple for like 10 years now, man. It's time to move on, everybody.
I'm just telling you, you taste it
Lime's
and you're
dead.
like, oh crap, this is Skittles.
Except for in Voodoo, you can have that taste again. It's so good. It's so good. I don't really like sugar soda. Usually I like diet, but I drank the whole thing in like 2 minutes. It was so tasty. It does. It tastes exactly like Skittles.
It's the first new Dew flavor that I was like, oh, I like this. Outside of, like, I know I'm going to get a bunch of people saying, yeah, but have you tried this? Have you tried whatever? Yes, and I probably didn't like it that much. I like regular Dew, and I like Taco Bell's Mountain Dew. Baja Blast.
Remember the USA one they had that was just vile?
Yeah, dude, I just had that one 4th of July.
That one was really bad.
It tastes like melted popsicle.
Wholesome.
And I like all of them. All the melted popsicles together. You drink it, it's terrible. But this one is good. I like it. I'm enjoying it. So well done, Mountain Dew Voodoo.
Dani, do you have any kudos?
Let me think. I think I do actually have one. So I haven't been on the show for a couple weeks because I have been road tripping again, actually. So I wanted to give a little kudos to my older brother. My older brother, Ryan, is 10 years older than me. He lives in LA, and he just decided that I'm going to go on a road trip to go visit family in Minnesota, and I'm going to stop in Salt Lake and grab my baby sister. So we had an awesome road trip adventure all the way up through South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, and we followed this thing called Atlas Obscura.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it essentially gave us all these weird little roadside attractions that we could go on our little COVID trip. We had masks on the entire time. We were safe, but it was just so nice to get out of the city. And people are really sleeping on South Dakota, guys. It is beautiful. I'd never been, but we drove through the Black Hills right during Sturgis, so everyone was on motorcycles.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was wild to drive through, by the way. Like, that was like a whole other thing that we definitely did not fit in at all there. But yeah, just kind of a kudos to my brother for an awesome road trip and something that was very, very needed in 2020, which it feels like it's been 5 years.
It has been the longest fucking year.
It's been
only
so
September.
long. What do you mean it's only September of what year?
No, Jenna made a point to me that I was like, wow, I emotionally can't handle this right now, but it's since been kicking around in my head that maybe one day we'll look back on 2020 and be like, 2020, the before times.
I hate that.
2020.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit because I'm already looking at 2019 like that.
Yeah, and I remember distinctly saying 2019 is the worst year of my life. I said that out loud.
I believe you.
What the fuck?
Man, remember 2019? Good times.
Oh, so nice, dude. I think like we're gonna look back at 2020 and be like, remember when it was just the coronavirus? Like what?
Oh no!
What?
Like California's on fire. There's a pandemic. Everyone is trying to go to school and getting sick.
Do you remember when we didn't have to use full face masks?
Oh no!
Oh,
the dread.
Remember when your mask didn't have to form a seal with your skin on your face?
What, like a plunger?
I don't know. Whatever you got to do to keep the fog out, Dani.
Wait.
Fog touches your eyes. Yeah, the fog touches your eyes. That's how the demons get in. So
you guys aren't using plunger masks.
It's fucking February.
You guys aren't using plunger masks yet? Wow.
Oh no.
You guys are the problem. Just get that
plunge the stick on, which is convenient because then I have at least 3 feet of social distance directly in front of my face. I can just whack people with my plunger.
A built-in weapon. Very smart.
Yep, and then I just feel my way around the store.
It's also like the seeing eye stick, right? So like you're just using like your face to feel stuff. That's how it works. Yeah. Guys, this is a thing. Yeah. Get on board.
Stick a fucking plunger on your face. It's 2020. Just do it. I have kudos for a movie from the before times. You guys ever see Rat Race?
It's been a long time.
Whoa.
2001 Rat Race. In fact, I think it's the super before times because if I'm not mistaken, Rat Race came out in August of 2001. So it was the super before times.
Yeah, really before times. Got it.
Do you remember what it was like before 9/11? Oh my god!
No, I don't anymore. Oh.
Dude, Durst was at
We've been living in hell for 20 years, everybody. 2 decades of your life have just been hell. Oh, I'm so sorry. Rat Race though was good. Rat Race was from a pure time. It was I don't know. It's got an all-star cast that I was like, dude, I can't believe all these people were in it. And it's got an all-star cast of like 90s stars like Amy Smart and Breckin Meyer. Also, I guess Seth Green, Cuba Gooding Jr., Smash Mouth plays the song at the end.
Dude, it's 2001. Of course they did.
It's the only Smash Mouth. Yeah, they were contractually obligated in 2001 to include Somebody Wants to on literally every movie that came out that year. You find a movie from 2001 that doesn't have a Smash Mouth song on it, you can't.
It won no awards. I can tell you that right now.
That movie never happened. It's got Whoopi Goldberg in it. I mean, John Lovitz,
Seth Green.
Funny enough, speaking of Smash Mouth, they were at Sturgis this year.
Oh yeah. He's dude. My favorite thing about Smash Mouth is if you ever mention the word Shrek, anywhere within like 100 miles of that dude, he will blow you up on Twitter. Like if you say something on Twitter, you don't have to tag Smash Mouth even. You just say, Smash Mouth, that guy from Shrek, he will show up in your mentions. And he'll tell you all about his other discography and why it's much better than whatever you played on Shrek. I'm not shitting you. I will post this article.
I am tempted.
Smash Mouth's just losing his shit on people on Twitter. It is
so tempted.
Fantastic.
Dude, but Dani, you've already got the post built in. Hey, drove through Sturgis this last 2 weeks ago on our road trip. The Shrek guy was there.
Guy was playing.
That's all you did.
Yeah, dude. There's also one. There's this one concert he played where people were mocking him, and he freaked out at him, so they started throwing bread at him, and he legit loses his fucking mind on stage right there. He just cannot handle people throwing bread at him. So yeah, Smash Mouth is dope. But this is Rat Race. Who cares anymore, right? Just go watch Rat Race. It's on HBO, and it does hold up. It legit does. There were multiple times in this film. It's all slapstick humor. It's so stupid, and I was just in hysterics. Like, there are so many scenes that are just so fucking stupid, and I'm like, I remember when this was like the pinnacle of comedy. You didn't have to try that hard. You just like had someone accidentally dressed like Hitler addressing a crowd of World War II veterans, and you're like, this is what comedy is.
Dude, this is like comedy. Perfect. It's perfect. We love it. It's edgy. It doesn't have to make sense. That was early 2000s comedy.
There's like a very big, long Lucille Ball joke in it that like I don't think anyone will fucking get. Like, does anyone even know what I Love Lucy was now? Like,
I think so. Like, I don't know. I'm a millennial. I'm not a Gen Z or whatever, so I can't speak for them. But I know who Lucille Ball is. She's the vintage clothing lady.
Yeah, so it's very much a time capsule film. It's like it took a big net and captured everything from the 90s and the early 2000s, and they just threw it in this movie. So whatever, just go watch it. I know you're sitting at home watching 6 hours of Netflix a day like the rest of us.
There's only 3 episodes of The Boys out, so
go
you
watch
gotta.
Rat Race.
Yeah,
you gotta do more content. Okay, then let's do. Peterson, I hope you have this clip because we're doing it.
Oh my god, the first impression rose.
All right, I have a first impression rose, you guys.
Oh,
I have like 6 first impression roses right now, but I'm only doing one because Peterson only let me do one.
Just one, JD. Chill with the first impression. You can't give a first impression rose to every single girl on the show. That's not how it works. One girl on night one gets the first impression rose.
Look, dude, they've been changing the rules. Didn't that guy just like make out and like grind up against a girl on night one?
That's standard.
Already been on a date with her, and it's like, no, there's no rules anymore. I can do 5 first impression roses. That's pretty normal. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. It's freaking Xbox Game Pass. Game Pass, you guys. Game Pass. The guys that pay for this podcast to exist. I just download a new Game Pass game like every week now. It's my favorite thing. But the latest one I just downloaded is just out, and I tried to play it online, was very disappointed, but then Jenna was like, hey, you want to play that Toad game? So I got to check out Battletoads.
Ooh.
Dude, so the new one, right? It just came out.
Yeah. Yes, and first Battletoads game in like 25 years, which is perfect. Like everything that was old is new again, and there's a new Battletoads. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up game. It's a little bit much more cartoonish than the other one. This is not going to try to be. This one's
very cartoony.
It's like full cartoony. There's a lot of fun combos, which is cool for Jenna because she's never actually played like a fighting game like this that has combos that you're like remembering the same moves over and over again. So that's cool. And it's up to 3-player co-op, which is so out there. I think that was actually, I think that's a carryover from the original. And the reason the original had 3 players was because that's how many they could fit in the arcade machine side by side. They can only fit 3. So, whatever. That's
well, and there's only three toads. There's always been 3.
Right.
You're 3
They're not
boys.
Gonna make a new Toad.
Rash, Zitz, and Pimple.
Perfect.
That's their names.
They came out with this game as they're like, hey, well, if they're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we need a response. And so they came out with Battletoads. One of those happened to have a little bit more longevity than Battletoads, I guess. But yeah, it's good. I mean, the levels, I think some of them I would describe as painfully long. There is this like rocket bike level you do where it's like third person, and you're just going straight down the screen, and you can either go left or right to dodge. It's just like those old racing games you'd play where you dodge like things in the middle or the side, or you know what I'm talking about, right? On a track. It looks like Guitar Hero, basically. You're just dodging left and right. Dude, Jenna and I did this mission. Thankfully, there are very forgiving checkpoints. But like there was one where each checkpoint was about 2 minutes of me very delicately like weaving and bobbing, and you basically have to memorize the whole sequence. You can't just do it like your first try. And there was like 6 checkpoints. And so it ended up taking us like 40 minutes to beat this. And I guess if you had memorized it and you did the level really well, you could technically beat it in like 7 or 8 minutes maybe. But it took us 40 because one of these things that there's a carryover from the previous Battletoads. It's really, really difficult. It's punishingly difficult. Mm-hmm. But unlike the original Battletoads, there's checkpoints. So it's like, whatever. It's like, I'm not going to have to pay another 50 cents to get to that level again.
I'll say I watched Colin and Ryan, who are 10 and 6 respectively. And it did not take them 40 minutes to beat it, JD.
Really? The bike level?
Yeah. I watched them do this one.
That's... I mean, I guess I could take it as a
you need little kid gaming reflexes.
But if I don't have the same gaming reflexes as like your sub 10-year-old kids, like I will not take that personally. I can't keep up with them.
No one can.
Dude, they're both better than me at Fortnite when we play together. That's not a secret.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Dude.
No, this is why I'm so glad, like, a couple years ago, you told us how, like, relentlessly you beat the shit out of your kids on video games. Yeah. And we all said, enjoy it. And you're like, I'm living it up now while it lasts. And you've raised them in, like, this like, crucible. And now they're going to be even stronger than if you'd been like a considerate, fun gamer with them. Now they just will want to punish you for the rest of your life.
Well, and what's going to happen once they're consistently better than me? I still control the money in the house, so I will just buy single player games from then on out.
I thought you were going to like buy buffs for your characters.
Oh my God.
Not buy buffs for them. I thought that's where you were going with it. I was like, wow, you're like, I have all the money, so I'll just fucking cheat. I'll just pay to win. I don't give a shit. Winning's winning. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Okay, if that's an option, I will do that. Otherwise, single player games only, so they can't beat me anymore. That's it.
So I guess Battletoads, my first impression rose is I'm actually going to hold on it. I'm not giving it out. I'm not giving out first impression rose to Battletoads.
You're not going to give them the first. It is. So here's the thing. It is a good game. It's fun. It is hard. My favorite part, though, is how it's like several games in one. So you're doing the beat 'em up. And then it'll change to like the perspective changes. You're playing a different type of game, right? Yeah. And so it changes quite a bit. But yes, it is pretty punishing. It's pretty hard, I'd say. I don't know. You can have punishing and really fun. This I don't think has quite the. It's not quite as fun. It doesn't deserve to be that punishing, right? It's not fun enough to be that punishing. It stepped over the line to the point where you're more likely to just stop playing it than to like be like, oh no, I gotta get this. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I got you.
And you know that's like fine. And I guess I should say this was free. And that even knowing it's free, I guess I'd still be like, well, I mean, so if you have Game Pass, download it, try it, definitely. Right. You might like it, and I think your
kids will like it, right?
Your kids will like it. The jet bike level that Jenna and I struggled with, like honestly, we still kind of enjoyed it because it was challenging, and so it did present that challenge. Like, see if you can beat this super hard level. But by the end, I was like, another checkpoint. We have to do this again.
Yep.
It just keeps grinding on. So yeah, I mean, if you've got Game Pass, check it out. Absolutely, do not buy this.
Yeah,
game,
don't buy it. Don't buy it. Play it on Game Pass.
No. Yeah. Okay, so that means that Dani is playing a new game. Not a new game.
I am. Well,
playing a new game for her.
It's new for me. Yeah. It's not Destiny or Dungeons and Dragons. I'm still playing those, but I'm also playing something else. I know. I'm surprised
too. Moment to play something else.
Don't get used to it, people.
I've got a backlog. I just don't touch it.
I have a lot of games I'm interested in.
They're just all on my wish list.
That's right.
I'll get to it.
Well, this one is
to
actually on my wish list, so I'm super interested in your review. This is The Sinking City. Tell us a little bit about The Sinking City, Dani.
Sure. So as a premise, I got into The Sinking City with a friend of mine, Marcus. We were playing through some of Frogware's other games. They are most well known for Sherlock Holmes style games, which are kind of like 2-hour little anthologies put together in a game where you are Sherlock and you solve crimes and deduce things. And basically that's kind of how we got into Frogwares, like as a studio. So I got interested in Sinking City because for those of you that are familiar or would be interested in this, it is a Lovecraftian horror RPG. Now the RPG part becomes interesting because coming from such a tiny studio, this game is huge. It is much bigger than I think either of us were expecting when we loaded in. It got right to the meat of what makes Lovecraft interesting without kind of stepping into the vague and oddities that would otherwise make it unobtainable. Mm-hmm. You start out as a PI named Mr. Reed. You arrive in a town called Oakmont, and you have been having very strange visions of underneath the sea. Something is happening. So you show up on this dock, and you want to start asking people about your visions. And of course, in basic RPG format, you have to do favors for them and, you know, do fetch quests and side quests and everything like that in order to progress the story. But what was really interesting about this is how they split up those quests via this massive map with all of the street names and all of the different areas all labeled. And you have to follow these instructions to try and uncover where in an area something strange may be happening. There are crafting elements, there is shooting elements. You can beat everybody to death with a shovel if that is what you would rather do. I don't recommend it, but you can do that. But what really made this so interesting is that they put so much love and work into making this city feel like there's always a little bit of danger on the other side of the looking glass as you are trying to investigate crimes. They also do an excellent job of staying very true to kind of some of the pieces of Lovecraftian lore. They go into Hastur and Cthulhu and all of the kind of big bads. They go into Innsmouthers, which are kind of like a fish folk that are in the city, without kind of going into some of the racism stuff that is actually very prevalent in work from that time.
Shit.
Yeah, like in all of Lovecraft stuff, he's extremely racist, and they kind of do this thing where they replace all of that racism with racism against fish people.
That's tight. Because the hatred and the fear kind of go hand in hand with.
They do, and no one trusts anybody. Mm-hmm. All of the quests are things like one of these like great families that runs the town. They think that the Innsmouthers, these like fish folk, have been poisoning the fish or something that they're giving to the poor people. And you have to go and try and figure out if that's the truth. The decisions in this game, I will say, are not very black and white, which is something that I really enjoy in an RPG. Yeah. While you oftentimes come to very binary conclusions of whether to help somebody or betray them, the actual implications of the choice are way less cut and dry. It's the idea of, I could help this person, but it is going to hurt this group of people. So are we going to weigh exposing an evil with essentially getting justice for that? Or is that going to hurt this institution that's trying to do something good in the meantime? Mm-hmm. And so it's been very fun to play through. There are sections where you go underwater in a diving suit that transition to just a third-person water, like deep sea walk.
Nope.
And yeah, by far,
nope.
I don't mind those sections very much, but my friend Marcus hates them. He hates them every time because it is oppressive, it is dark, And there is, of course, a sanity meter. So
of course there is.
So if you are staring at certain things for too long, you're going to start losing your sanity, and the screen is going to start freaking out. They really kind of did a good job of tying that in, though. So you are doing all of these kind of little puzzles and quests and favors for people, and you never know when you're going to open a door and something is just going to be wrong. Right? Nothing is really as it seems. Yeah, there are human evils at play, like somebody trying to get back at like an ex-wife or something by ruining her business, or, et cetera, et cetera. But then there's also people turning into these monsters called wild beasts in the basement, and you have to go through and figure out where they went before realizing you just shot them all upstairs. And they were all monsters.
No.
Yeah, it's heavy, but I think that the genre of kind of like Lovecraftian horror is one that is extremely difficult to adapt, and this game has had an extremely rocky road in order to get played. I mentioned this a bit before we started recording, but the Sinking City is a little hard to get if you wanted to pick it up and play it. It is currently delisted on the Steam, Xbox, and PS4 stores. Okay. You can still get it on their website, on Origin, and on Nintendo Switch, but they had a huge falling out with their publisher. Their publisher essentially started trying to claim that they made the game instead of Frogwares.
Nice.
And so it was nasty. They were taking off their logo and just trying to like put them under the rug. They were trying to ask for the source code of the game because they were developing or publishing for like another Lovecraftian inspired thing.
Who was the publisher?
Big Ben Interactive, I believe. Putting them on blast.
Yeah, for sure. They should be put on blast. In that same story, like they wouldn't pay the developers of the game their cut. They were like over 100 days behind on any payments, which is horrible for a small developer. Like no money. Yeah,
this is a little Ukrainian
game.
Studio. Yeah, this is by far their biggest title. We were stunned when we loaded in and realized this was like a full-ass RPG, because we did not think it was when we got started. And sure enough, they went through an entire legal battle. They got it delisted on everything. They are working on getting it back up everywhere, but I think that it is very much worth playing. A lot of the reviews are very average, kind of middling. And yes, there are some of those issues that you will see with a indie game, a very pretty indie game, I might add. You might see a little bit of screen tearing. You might see something like an NPC might clip into the floor before they move up to the podium they're supposed to be on. So yeah, there's some little things like that. But most of the growing pains have been patched out, and it's overall very enjoyable. And the game's writing, world building, and the kind of lack of hand-holding in drawing conclusions makes you feel like you're actually a PI and you're figuring out how to solve these crimes and different things that people want from you. So get past a couple of the technical issues, give them the benefit of the doubt. It is a very small indie studio that made a giant game, a very pretty, very big game. And kind of toss them a bone, because this publisher did not help them get it out at all.
How many hours in are you, Dani?
I would say I'm close to probably 15.
And it sounds like you said you're almost done, so it's probably like 20, 25 hours total.
I'm not entirely sure, because you know how it is with RPGs, where you kind of just walk in and you're like, I wonder where in the story I am. But we did think we were getting to the end at one point, and then it loaded back in and gave us some new stuff. So I'm thinking we probably have another 15 hours maybe. I think we're at the middle point. Yeah.
I was going to say, because you described, so it's an open world game, right? The map is.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that you there's not like checkpoints on your map.
The checkpoints on the map kind of evolve, if that makes sense. So you have a couple that are static, such as the hospital, such as like the hotel where you're working, all these different things. But as you pick up quests, it actually makes specific markers that you can drag to where it says they're supposed to be on the map. So if something says I had a vision of like an octopus dragging me into the sea at the corner of Octopus Avenue, and this is a real avenue, and in something else lane. You can drag the marker to that point and get rid of it when you're done with that investigation.
Dude.
So the map evolves, and that honestly makes it so much more doable, that the map evolves as you are playing it, as you are finding quests. So it never feels like you're getting bogged down by a ton of this stuff. You can kind of just pick your direction and go. One thing I will kind of criticize it for a little bit is that the DLC is all folded in, and you're not quite sure where it is necessarily. So
and you can't turn it off.
Well, you can't really turn it off. They're kind of like their own story and side missions. But we essentially went into a room and got just a slew of these missions that had to do with finding books around town, and another one that was finding visions and journals of people. And we think those might be DLC, so we haven't done any of them yet. But we aren't sure, because since this game did not have a very big reception on Steam or Epic or on console, there's not a lot online for it. That was something that was kind of fun when we got started, where we realized we couldn't Google the answer to puzzles, to mysteries. Just today we found a Reddit board to help us out, but like so far we've been playing without anything because we haven't been able to find much.
That's old school.
Yeah, we played old school. Yeah. Overall, though, I think it's very worth playing and helping out these developers, especially as they're dealing with it. Yeah, going through Origin is a pain, but get it on Switch, because Frogwares did that entirely on their own. That didn't have anything to do with Big Ben Interactive. So
how much is it?
It's a good purchase.
How much is the game?
Let me check how much it is right now. Let's see here. I'm in their open letter where they just put Big Ben on blast.
That's so
nice.
Awesome. I was gonna say, if you buy it directly from them, you gotta know that. I mean, I would say go to their store if you really want to support them. Go buy it from their website. Fuck Origin. Fuck all these other stores that'll take a cut. Just sideload it from their website.
Yeah, so let's see. Their store, it is deluxe edition is $64.99 right now, and that's directly on their website, though. However, if you are interested in other Frogware interactive games, Epic does have some of the Sherlock Holmes ones, and they're pretty fun. I mean, aside from that, I oftentimes would annoy the friend I was playing with by calling out completely Looney Tunes style solutions to things and being right 2 hours later. We had a great time with these games, and they're very, very pretty. They are, for such a small studio, they are making some very pretty games that have a very unique turn on investigative gameplay.
Dude, I love it. Yeah, because I was looking at this game, so I'm glad to hear that it's super dope.
Yeah, it's super dope. And they don't just give Cthulhu a health bar. We were worried about that. We haven't gotten to Cthulhu yet, but most of the things you're fighting are eldritch abominations. They're these horrible little creatures that upset your character and your sanity, and they're hard to look at, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if your sanity gets too bad?
We tried it. So there's a couple little things that happen. You'll pull the gun out and point it at your own head. You'll start kind of like hallucinating and screaming. Yep. You'll see yourself hanging on an invisible rope. There's different visions that will kind of cycle through to show that your sanity is going down. But we had to actually make a pretty like Herculean effort to completely tank our sanity. We had to sit there and stare at one of those beings underneath the ocean. Because it's pretty forgiving on that side. The health, not so much. When you're fighting wild beasts and some of these other abominations, there's some big guys that are still scary. We have a shotgun and we have grenades and we have all of these things, and we still see one of those big guys come down the stairs and our whole chat is just going,
I'm out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's bad. So, like, those guys are scary. But overall, I think it's very, very fun to kind of dance that line of like sanity and health and a very weird type of horror.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because that's a perfect transition into our next segment, which is because Dani is playing a Lovecraft game, which is all focused on, like she said, eldritch horror. And I have been watching a bunch of shit that has been just unsettling me lately.
Really?
I watched Raised by Wolves, that new HBO series by Ridley Scott and Jonathan Nolan and Lisa, what's her Joy? And it is, I didn't give it kudos this week because I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. All I know is that it's very, very upsetting, and it has been upsetting. I watched an android woman rip a guy's eyelid off, and I did not like that.
Specific.
Surprisingly, did not
just
like
the
that.
eyelid?
Yeah, she just needed his eyeball for something, so didn't need that pesky eyelid. I think
in the way.
Had she asked, he probably would have held his eye open. She did not seem very concerned with getting his consent on holding his eye open.
Just ripped it off like a piece of duct tape?
Yeah. I'd say less like a piece of duct tape and more like a light Band-Aid.
Guys, we don't need to go into details about this. I have
that
a full
also...
Mountain Dew in me. I'm feeling a little squeamish.
Exactly. And even my Dice of Destiny game that I've got a review coming up for, Wildermyth, has Lovecraft undertones in it. And so I wanted to ask this question because I don't think we've talked about it on this podcast before. What games have made you feel uncomfortable? What games have just made you feel unsettled? Who wants to go first? I can go first.
Oh, yeah, you go, because I have a weird one.
I will go first because, Dani, you triggered me when you were talking about going underwater in the Second City because Peterson made fun of me for this on the last episode, but I thought I'd bring it up again. Subnautica scared me shitless, you guys. That game is so scary, and the best part is
not even a horror.
It's not a horror. It's not trying to be scary, but it gives you enough rope to scare yourself, and I loved that. It let me get so cocky. There were sharks in the game and other monsters and things that were coming at me, and I have a knife, and I was able to just hit him with a knife, and I'm feeling so cocky. Like, oh, fucking shark doesn't know shit about me. I'm JD. What do you know about me?
You don't
and
know
then I
me.
ventured into this. I know, and then I was like getting all cocky, adventuring by this spaceship that had crashed in the ocean nearby, and I got jumped by a creature that I'd never heard of. I was not familiar it was in the game. I just didn't know it existed, and I couldn't. I just died. I just immediately died.
Took you down.
And I have been so nervous. It did. Absolutely. And so I played the game for another couple hours, but I haven't gone back. It's been like weeks, and I can't go back because I'm literally scared of the ocean. Like, it is so crazy. I'm in a safe place. I went and built a freaking submarine. So you think I'm faster, I'm more mobile. I'm not going to drown like underwater. I can go lower in the depths, and yet I am still so scared. My character is sitting on a beach somewhere, just like as far from the fucking ocean depths as possible. So that game just made me uncomfortable. I hated it. I might go back later, like when I need a good scare, but not right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
So that actually made me think of a different one. I probably mentioned this one before, but have y'all played Soma?
I haven't played it.
No,
okay,
what is that?
Because it's underwater. So let's just keep the theme going.
No.
It is a underwater game where you are in these series of underground bunkers, deep beneath the ocean, very Rapture-esque without going full Bioshock, kind of more futuristic. But it is an existential horror game, which is bizarre to me. It plays with the idea of artificial intelligence, reaching singularity, what it means to transfer your mind to something else, and if that means it's still really you. It's really philosophical, and the final scene in that game still sits with me because I just sat there in absolute horror as the screen cut to black. It essentially asked you, hey, if you were to switch your brain to something and send it away, and then you died, are you still alive? And it doesn't give you the answer. It just sits there with the person who is left behind. in that kind of exchange.
Oh.
And the room, so they're sitting there going, well, we made it. You know, we did the thing. We've transferred our consciousness to something else, so we will live on. And your character just starts going, no, because he's not me. Like, I'm not him. We are not the same. Like, they are not us. And everything just starts to go dark as the facility starts shutting down. And just the dread that you feel is absolutely crushing. And that's the only game I can think of that ever had such a weird premise like that and managed to pull it off. And it's all underwater. So, yeah, sea walks and everything and, you know, giant, horrible monsters. So, you know, those don't hurt.
Dude, I love that. I feel like because video games have so much more room to breathe in terms of like narrative, they suck you in more, and you end up, for me, I end up role playing much more than if I'm simply just watching a TV show or
absolutely,
or watching a book. Like, I am in the story. I'm so much more invested. So yeah, when these things go wrong, it's not like, oh, that's crazy for that character. That's too bad. It's like, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm getting eaten by a monster. It sucks because it's me. I can relate to it because it's happening directly to me. It's scary. Scares the Jesus out of me. I used to be like, oh, horror video games, whatever. Now I'm like, maybe I need to go back and play horror games. Maybe I'm just like a big scaredy cat now. I'm just like,
maybe.
Oh, I am. Dude. Because that's my game that I was the first game I thought of when I saw this on the doc, talking about games that made me uncomfortable. I think this was one of my first Dice of Destiny games when I was on that like could not stop rolling horror games, which ended up inspiring us to rotate the list.
Completely changed the list. Yeah, because you played like 6 horror games in a row.
It was horrible.
Rest in pieces.
One of my first ones, though, was, do you remember this? It's called Detention. Absolutely incredible game. Absolutely recommend it. It's called Detention. It's it was that game. It's a Taiwanese developer. And it was it's about the 1960s Taiwan under martial law. And,
oh yeah, I remember when you played this.
And it was absolutely horrifying, especially the first half, but in a very uncomfortable way. If you've ever experienced any East Asian horror, they're very good at it.
They're so good at it.
So good at it. I don't know what it is, but this game captured that very well. I mean, lots of creepy scenery, very creepy imagery happening. You're a girl walking around a school, your school, that no one else is there. You're the only one there, but like every now and then you'll encounter these like evil beings from Taiwanese legends. And like there was one that it would walk towards you all creepy, and the only way to avoid it was just to not look at it. You'd have to turn the wrong way, and you couldn't move. You had to just sit there, turn the other way, and then it would walk past you. But if it didn't, it would grab you by the head and pick you up, and then you would die. And then there was another one. Again, they were very creepy. You'd have to creep past it. You'd have to sneak past it, holding your breath. And your character can only hold her breath for so long. You'd have to hold your breath, because if you breathe near it, it will, again, just kill you in a horrific way. And the first few times I encountered them, I was yelling, screaming. I was so scared. This game, you never felt, I guess, comfortable. You never felt like you knew what was coming next. Every door you opened, you were ready to be creeped out. And then it dove deeply into like the themes of like depression, which was common during that era. At several different levels, you know, people committing suicide is a theme in the game, which happened a lot. People disappearing, which happened under that martial law. So you just get into this, and it was very uncomfortable, but I learned a ton. And it was honestly one of those games that just stick with you forever. It inspired me to go read up about 1960 Taiwan, because it was so depressing.
Wasn't
and
that kind of the
horrifying, and
stated goal of the game?
Yeah, like they wanted you to learn about how bad it was, and it was a very well done game. I recommend it to anyone. It wasn't very long. It took me about 3.5 hours to beat, and it was a scary 3.5 hours.
Nice.
So it's called Detention.
I only had one more that was like recent. I think a lot of games have unsettled me. But recently, the only other one on my mind was Outer Wilds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Yeah, because there's like the game is really minimal. Most of the narrative is told through journal entries that are read. So there's not like a lot of voices in it. There's not a lot of talking in it. There's really not that many other characters in the game. It's just you and a couple people you like kind of discover through the galaxy, but it's maybe 5 people total. So you're really, really, really alone, and you feel really alone, and you have a whole galaxy that you're exploring, and it's a time loop game, and you keep dying and resetting every loop, and all you remember is like the journal entries you found. But there is some fucking scary. What's interesting is because it's a time loop, it's the same. I think it's 22 minutes. Mm-hmm. Every single thing in the galaxy happens exactly the same every 22 minutes, which I thought was a fantastic and amazing, incredible concept for a video game. So, for example, there's 2 planets. They're called the Hourglass Twins. And at the beginning of the 22 minutes, one of them begins sifting all of its sand, or like losing all of its sand to the neighboring planet. And apparently they do this on a cycle. So the sand will all go to the other planet, and then it'll come shifting back and forth. However, during this 22 minutes that the game takes place, it only goes from one planet to the other, which means if you show up on the empty planet first and you explore all the way down to the core as quickly as possible, and I had to memorize the path down to the core, just like any good time loop game, right? Mm-hmm. Or any time loop fiction where the character is memorized how things go down. I had to memorize exactly how to get to the core of the planet before it started filling with sand, and then I could explore it a little bit, and then I had to escape before it filled with sand and get out. However, in so doing, I got killed by sand filling rooms I was in, which is, for me, a personal nightmare. Ever since I saw the fucking Mummy in 1999.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Were you scared of the scarabs, too, climbing into
less
your mouth?
Less so the scarabs, more so being crushed.
CGI
or being, like,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
That was pretty scary. That was the Mummy Returns, Dani. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? It bleeds over.
It does bleed over. It's just one big fucking fever dream. But yeah, I just that shit. So I died from like sand crushing me a lot. There's this planet where you fly into the core of the planet, and all of a sudden all your sensors go off, and it doesn't even register where you are in the galaxy anymore. And then all of a sudden you get eaten by a gigantic anglerfish.
Sure.
There's a white hole. Every death is just so scary, and it feels like you can feel them all. Like if you jump too high and you come down too hard, and your jetpack doesn't cushion the fall enough, you feel your bones break. You feel the visor on your helmet break, like the glass break, and you really want to avoid death in a game you end up dying in a lot.
Yeah.
And it just unsettled me. And I haven't, just like Subnautica, I have not gone back to beat Outer Wilds because it kind of spooks me out now. Because I'm at the point that the fish planet is really the only one left. And it scares the bejesus out of me. And I don't know what to do. And I keep getting eaten by a fish that eats my whole spaceship. So yeah. That is. Do you guys have any other unsettling
I had
games
a couple
that you
like
played recently?
Very quick ones, and maybe different definitions of uncomfortable. One, just I'm not even going to talk about this much, but Frostpunk. When I was playing it, I was uncomfortable in the fact that I just felt like I was cold all the time. Even when I was playing it, I'm just playing it. Everything's cold, and I'm like, "Am I cold?" Why do I feel like I'm cold right now?
Yeah,
I'm like bundled up with a blanket with the heater on. So Frostpunk did that to me, but also a game that I played very recently. It was Persona 4. Persona 4, which I played. And the only reason it was uncomfortable for me was there are too many constant comments of adults telling you how hot high school kids are, how hot high school girls are, and you're just like,
that's not just Persona 4, my dude.
But it's the only one I've played, and I'm like, why do they keep talking about how hot these high school kids are? And they're like, oh yeah, and it's like all the adults are weirdly sexual towards all the high school kids in like every interaction, and you're like, I don't like that. I'm very uncomfortable with that. Why is this? Oh, and like all the adults are like kind of creepy about it. I don't know, man. It was weird.
Schoolgirls.
Oh yeah,
that was lead anime.
I bet you really like those girls your age. Oh man, have you seen her? And I'm like, stop it. You are 60 years old. Yeah. So that was uncomfortable.
Stop it. Freaking horny police is here. You're going away. You're going to horny jail. Danny, what are yours?
This one is the kind of weird one, but it's been several years since it came out, so sorry for the spoilers. But Life is Strange episode 5, season 1. It has kind of on that same note, you're playing through this entire game, these like 5 chapters as a teen girl named Max. She's a photography student at a prestigious like art academy in high school. She is very small. She looks innocent, and they really put all of their time into kind of putting you in the shoes of this character, right? Making you kind of feel like you care about what happens to her, care what happens to her friends, and care what happens to her whole time loop puzzle. But in episode 5, they straight up put you in a nightmare realm of all of her insecurities, and the biggest one is all of the men in her life. But they do it in such a creepy way that you have to kind of sneak around these fragments of memories that are all in a school, while all of these guys from the game are patrolling around with flashlights, and they're looking for you. So the principal, like the photography teacher, who is like low-key super creepy, actually no, high-key, scratch that, high-key,
very openly creepy.
Yeah, openly creepy, like the guy who keeps on trying to ask you to the movies, who's supposed to be your friend. But never in my life, so I've been a teenage girl, I get it, but never in my life have I played a game like this. I'm sorry that I was a teenage girl at one point. But even my guy friends have played this, and they just said, I've never felt more like a teenage girl than I did in that moment, where I had to hide in a locker because like the creepy photo teacher was going to get me.
Oh my god!
And I don't know what he was going to do to me, but I didn't trust any of those guys, and all of them were scary. So that made me super uncomfortable because I was just going, I don't like any of this. I don't want to be here. I had to take a break from that one. Normally I can burn through them, but episode 5 goes straight up horror.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Yep, so that would make me uncomfortable as well. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, a bunch of guys following me around with flashlights and be like, nope!
We should make high school boys play that in junior high.
They should!
That should be like part of their education. This is how...
No, they'd be like, wait,
creep out.
We can follow girls with flashlights? Oh, man.
No!
You're like,
our
guys,
stalking would be so much better if we had flashlights, bro.
Oh my god.
Why did we think
you have to make them play the whole game? And then they'll also be aware that maybe girls don't always like want to date them too. That might actually be really good for them.
It doesn't make sense.
That's true.
I don't get it. Girls just do makeup because they want me to notice them, right? That's my teenage boy voice. You're all welcome.
Dude, it's fantastic.
Bruh.
Absolutely nailed it.
Well,
that's what they sound like to me, too.
If you didn't want me to smell your neck. I don't understand.
Oh, hey, Chad, what's up?
You laughed at my joke earlier in second period. So when are we going to the movies?
I'm in hell.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
This is hell, and I'm here.
We're all living in it. Okay, let's move on to our last little ditty.
Dice of Destiny.
All right, Dice of Destiny is this fun little game we play. At the end of every episode, we roll a 20-sided dice to find a genre. We roll a 6-sided dice to see how much money we can spend. And then finally, we roll a dice to see who has to find a game in that genre for that price, pick it, play it, review it. 2 weeks ago, maybe longer, I rolled a turn-based strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked through a bunch, and then Peterson sent me... I feel like, Peterson, you've helped me pick my last 3 Dice of Destiny games.
You always get ones that make me so excited. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Kudos.
Oh, I've got a game for you, bro.
Because seriously, I got to give you a shout out. I got to give you kudos for this. This game was fucking amazing. This game is incredible. I picked Wildermyth. I got it on Steam. It's an early access game, like every other fucking game I play now, I guess.
Yeah, every game
it's
on
$20.
Steam.
Yeah, I only play early access indie titles now. That's my jam, which is
I'm
great.
so proud of you.
I know, because I never give money and I never pay for microtransactions to giant AAA studios. It's
Ethical gamers.
Ethical gaming.
That's what we do now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
apparently we have to do that because otherwise they're just going to put ads and everything. This game has 0 ads. I paid $20 for it, ad free. Go figure.
EA is like, wait. What a bunch of idiots.
What?
Why would
how'd
they
you make
do
money,
that?
you morons? You
How
have
did
to
you make
extract
money?
as much wealth as possible from every property. Don't you understand business?
Didn't you want to go watch The Boys?
Oh God. So no, Wildermyth does not have the same demo. In fact, I've shared this in Discord. Quick plug, guys, jump in our Discord. Duh. But when I went to look at this game on Steam, I got a warning from Steam that was like, hey, this doesn't look like any game you've ever played before. When I see that warning, I am like rubbing my hands together. I am so happy. I'm like, yeah, here we go. Because I know I'm going to have a good time. So, Wildermyth is a game. It feels like it feels like a tabletop game, man. It doesn't. It feels much more like a tabletop game, and it looks like a tabletop game. I feel when I'm playing it or when I'm done playing it, like I've just been finished playing a tabletop game. Basically, what you have is a map. You have a tiled map of the kingdom, I suppose, and your characters at the beginning of the game, you start with 3 characters. They're all like farmers who have been cast into adventurehood, like any good D&D campaign.
Yeah.
And you start out traveling this map, scouting these tiles that aren't revealed yet, and then you can fight battles with monsters, these eldritch monsters. Most of them they're either corruptions of real, like there's a deer that's all corrupt and weird called a roe, and then they're obviously like Lovecraftian corruptions of forest creatures, and then they're just straight up Lovecraft monster, tentacle monster type things. And you fight these things to reclaim these tiles, to reclaim the kingdom as the adventures. And then so once you've left the map and you've entered combat, it goes into what is like essentially a tiled game board. And just like any and your characters actually move, like, you know, those little stand-up cutout characters you have in tabletop games.
Your
They
miniatures?
move, yeah, little minis, like the cardboard ones.
Yeah.
They move like you might move one of those, like as a character might
Oh, I
count.
love that.
Yeah, so like you're moving up a character on a board and you're kind of walking it like left, right, because you're counting the tile spaces.
Mhm.
And that's how this looks. That's how the characters, good guys and bad guys, move in this. And so basically you're moving your characters strategically on the tile. You can move behind cover. The mages, which I'm very fond of, they can use these items that are throughout the game. Maybe there's a torch on the ground or a campfire or a tree, and the mages can enchant those and then use them, like explode a campfire next to a monster to light it on fire. Those types of things. And you can have these combos where one character starts a campfire for the archer because the archer has an ability that if they're standing next to a campfire, all of their arrows will start the person they're shooting on fire, or the monster they're shooting on fire. So basically there's a ton of strategy that goes into this simple tile-based, turn-based combat. And I was just laughing because, like, this is what I got. I signed up and downloaded a turn-based game, and it was the part I cared about the least in the game, and it's amazing. It's an incredible game. The gameplay of the game, the turn-based combat's great. But what I really loved, and what my favorite part was the story. Nice. This story feels like I get to play a D&D campaign with myself, in a very isolated, kind of contained version, where I and the way that this is told is what I've coined them modular comic strips. I don't know what you would call them, but they clearly have taken the characters you pick, because you can just randomize your characters. They can look however you want. You don't pick it, you just randomize it. So you hit the roller and it's like a dark skinned guy with a mustache. You hit the roller and it's a blonde lady. You hit and you just can roll. And so I just would just hit a random roll on each of these characters. But in these comics, they would appear. And another cool thing is if you are fighting a battle during this tiled combat and your character dies or loses their health bar, the first time they can retreat. The second time they die in battle, they might die or they can retreat again. But every time you retreat, your character loses a limb.
Oh my!
So
gosh.
I have a character that has a hook hand and she has a peg leg.
Oh,
and
she's
my most talented. Oh, she's amazing. She's my mage and she's my absolute favorite. And I had to make, but there was another character I had who at the time, because of her character. I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you a story that came from the game. It was fascinating. And I made it. I made this story happen because I was role-playing it. So I have my standard characters. I have a mage, a warrior, and an archer. We go into town to pick up another adventurer because we heard that someone was looking to join our crew. We pick up a warrior. And we go fight one dungeon, and the new warrior, and the archer form a rivalry. Ooh. Just something that happens. But it's a friendly rivalry. It's like Gimli and Legolas.
Legolas, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's that type of jam. And at the same time, the warrior I picked up in town, part of her character card was that she was really eager to prove herself, and she just wanted to jump into battle and just prove herself right away. So that's how I played her. So when we had the tiled combat and the choice was for me to like send a character who's going to attack first, who's going to run up to the monster first and attack him. It was always her. And so this warrior in this battle, she sacrificed, she ended up like putting herself in the front lines of the battle throughout the whole thing. And toward the end, she ended up dying or ended up losing all her health. And so I had the option to either have her retreat or have her sacrifice herself and take down what was a really huge monster with her. And if she hadn't done that, there was a chance that two other people in the party could have gone down, potentially died. One of them could have potentially died. So I made that call right there in the moment that this character that I just recruited, and she had kind of a thing going and she was part of my party, she killed herself. She took down this monster, and we got through the dungeon fine and everyone survived. And at the end of that dungeon, my the other warrior, the older warrior, there was a modular comic in which she was talking to the hunter and like, hey, how you holding up? And she's like, I'm fine, whatever. And then I pressed her for I had a speech option. And I pressed her and I was like, no, seriously, how are you doing? And she's like, of course, so-and-so had to go out the hero. And of course she had to make this big show of it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that is so fascinating to me.
That's awesome.
This is an early access game, guys.
That's
Here's
wild.
Another one. I had 4 people in my party. I was leaving town. Actually, I think this is when I recruited the warrior. So it may have been 3 people. I was leaving town, and then I got a notification that somebody in that town I just left was available to recruit. So I just sent one guy back to recruit whoever this person was, and everyone else went on the adventure. The modular comic strip that popped up, the character I was recruiting after I chose, or I think it was a her, after I chose her, she's in the strip and she's talking to the character I sent back to get her. And she's like, oh man, I just watched you guys leave town and I was so disappointed because I wanted to join you. So I'm so glad you came back. I was like, how did the game? I was like, how is that in the game? How is that even a tree that they considered that? How was that a decision tree that was part of the game? So I think I've almost beaten the game and I've played it for maybe 5-10 hours. So I do think the game is meant to be played over and over, and there are a ton. So it's a short story, but it's very, very deep, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
so you get to the end of it, but you can never find all of these different tales they put in it. Another cool thing is every one of these little modular comic strips has a byline. Who wrote it? Who storyboarded it? I assume it doesn't really explain. It just says by so and so. So I don't know if they farmed these. They could. I mean, honestly, they're fairly short. It's less. These stories are less than 200 words. So if you found a good D&D group of people that was like, "Hey, send us your stories from your campaigns. We'll throw them in the game." Guys, it's so good. The story is so good.
You got me. I'm gonna go get it. That sounds amazing.
It's slow, so you can kind of take your time with it. But at the same time, like if you play and you role play and you lean into it, like I had one character who she was my first warrior. She was so amazing and talented and strong. And just as I was thinking to myself, literally after a battle, wow, she's so powerful. I can't lose. I got this opportunity. They call them opportunities in the game, to have her like basically go into retirement with some like mystical mage who was like, look, you have this power that you can protect the realm, but you have to retire. And so she didn't really want to, but I made the choice because it was for the good of the realm. And now randomly, oh, by the way, the story takes place over like 30 years. So at the end of every chapter, it will tell you like, oh, your actions in this chapter guaranteed 10 years of peace. And so now I check in 10 years later and my characters are 10 years older.
Oh my gosh.
And they look more grizzled. They have gray hair. And then I recruit a fresh batch of recruits, and I'm being more protective about my old characters because I don't want them to die in a raid or a dungeon because I'm like attached to them. So now I'm throwing the new recruits at these battles, and they're kind of greenhorns and they're kind of dropping like flies. And so every once in a while I'll send an OG with them to kind of show them the ropes. It's so good.
Dude, that
it's
sounds
just
awesome.
so good. This is at $20 for an early access indie title, and I am going to say it, buy at any price. Just get it. Because if you guys like D&D, if you like storytelling, you like role play, this is so, like I said, this is not like any game I've ever played on Steam. Obviously, even the Steam algorithm is like, you got us, bro. We have no fucking idea what to do with this. But it's good. It's just so good. It's just awesome. Good. I would check out the trailer on Steam. I'd watch some gameplay to know what you're getting into, so you don't just go into this blind. But yeah, if you guys like stories, you like storytelling, you like that type of gameplay, you've got to check out Wildermyth. That's WILDERMYTH. It's all one word. It's just so good. And Peters, if you are eyeballing it, stop watching it. Just go get it.
Just
don't
pick it up.
Hesitate. This is definitely a game you could kind of play like in the background at work, because you can just make a few decisions and then you're like, oh, I got a meeting and whatever. It's just going to be sitting there waiting for you. So it's not a huge deal.
Dude,
it's definitely a game you could play passively. But yeah, so check out Wildermyth, you guys. It's on Steam and probably some other places. It'd be really good on the Switch, I would say. This would be perfect on the Switch. It's a character-driven, procedurally generated tactical RPG. Yeah, it's so good, you guys. Anyway,
awesome.
So that means we have a reroll because we now need another game, and I've got the dice roller pulled up.
You don't have real dice? Come on, fake gamer.
I've got real dice on the table right behind me.
I also have real dice in my hand.
Well, then one of you roll. What the F? Okay, get out your 20 and your D20 and roll that right now. One of you. Who cares? Whatever.
Dani,
I'll do it.
Okay.
That was a 15.
15 is it's a sports game. You can...
Oh, no.
Damn it. This dice is going in dice jail.
Sports game?
Yeah, dude. Dani, you can give that dice to someone next time you're DMing and you want to curse them, because clearly that dice is cursed.
Dude, I shit you not. We were playing yesterday, and my DM rolled 5 natural ones, and 3 of those were in a row.
Oh,
no!
It was fantastic for us.
I was gonna say, for a DM, that's super fun. You're like, now you have 0 arms, I guess.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Okay, so we have a sports game. Dani, do you have 6-sided dice?
Yeah, I do.
Roll one of those.
That was a 5 again.
You can spend $50. This is actually kind of funny because there are sports games that you literally cannot afford in Dice of Destiny. Who knew?
Dude, I know.
Buy NBA
Come
2K
on. A sports game
Dice
for
of Destiny
under
rules.
$60? Are you good luck? Good freaking luck.
Yeah. So, all right. So now, who is most cursed? Dani, do you want to? You can remove yourself from the role. We will not hold it against you.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I got us in this mess. Maybe I'll get us out.
That's
It's
true.
my
You
fault.
did.
It's my fault.
I did this.
Okay, so I will be 1, 2, Peterson 3, 4, and Dani will be 5, 6.
All right. Let's see. And that was a 4.
That's me.
Peterson. Lucky boy.
I knew it. Oh, this
so
is going to be
Peterson
bad.
has to roll. I'm going to write this down. Reroll Peterson. $50 sports
wait,
game.
wait,
like WWE.
Wait, hold
What?
on. Tony
What do you
Hawk,
got?
Pro Skater, $40.
Shit.
My God, your mind.
Dude.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Dude, that's not fair at all.
I was
It's kinda fair.
messaging JD like
Damn it.
yesterday, and I was like, dude, should I play that? And he was like, well, I don't know. Dude, that's it. I'm getting it. That just
The
sealed the
dice.
deal. The dice decided for me. I'm going to download
decided,
Tony
dude.
Hawk tonight on the PlayStation.
That's
Dude, because
amazing.
I'm looking through the sports games, and I am interested in none of them.
Yeah.
Just get one of the WWE games and spend the entire time in character customizer. It'll be fun.
Dude. Well, it was there was one wrestling game I kept trying to get Spencer to play back in the day. I can't remember what it was called, but that's my other Fire Pro Wrestling World. That was the one. I kept trying to get him to play it. The only good thing is there's a character customization where you could literally make any character you wanted. Anybody
Hell
you can think of,
yes.
you could put them in there, and like they're wrestling for you now. Not the greatest wrestling game, but you could do that. I'm not playing that. I'm playing Tony Hawk.
No, you're playing Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
The dice literally just came and decided this for you.
They did.
We didn't know, Dani. You can pull that out of dice jail. Clearly, this was destiny.
Don't know if I trust him.
You
This
probably
dice-
have enough 20s that you can leave
I have
jail.
plenty of 20s. Are you kidding me?
It's
I
in
am a
dice-
dice dragon.
Dice purgatory. Okay, it's not
Yeah.
quite there yet. It's just like in the like holding cell. Like I don't know. We're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Well,
Yeah,
at the
we'll see.
very minimum, it will be a full year before sports is back on the docket.
Yeah.
So-
There you go.
And the last time we had a sports game, can you remember, Peterson?
Yeah,
There was
it was Spencer.
was-
Spencer got it, and he
Did he
played that wizard basketball or whatever it was.
I knew it was something stupid and shitty. Like the last time we got a racing game and you got a game where the cars couldn't turn.
It was
Like,
so,
what was that?
it was the worst game I've ever played on Dice of Destiny. Easy.
You got a refund on it. That's the only one you've gotten a refund for.
After like 30 minutes.
that is pure horror.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
guys. So that does it for us this week. And to play us out, we have the victory music from Wildermyth, which I pray to hear every time I go into a dungeon because there's permadeath, and I don't do well with permadeath. All right. I said it already, but check us out on Discord. You must find us on Discord. 3-Bit
So
Gamer Show.
fun.
It's awesome. We just shoot the shit about a lot of different stuff. So
Mostly food.
keep the party going.
But also games.
It's mostly food. Like, you'd have a full day's head start on the voodoo kudos had you been in our Discord.
That's true.
All right, I'm JD logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK.
And Dani saying BRB.
Peterson Production.